Hello, everyone, and welcome to Beyond the Mirror podcast. Today is a very special episode because I have a very special guest who made his way from France to do this recording. Jean-Paul Ben is a very famous man in medical aesthetic world, founder of Needle Concept and a very famous mesogun U225. That is a mesogun that most medical aesthetic clinics must have. Thank you very much, Jean-Paul. It's absolute pleasure to have you today.
You're welcome.
Jean-Paul, can you please share with us, you're a very popular man in medical aesthetic. When we come to IMCAS, your stand is always busy with practitioners, and many clinicians very well know about you and your mesogun. But it would be very interesting to find out how it's all started. Could you please tell us about how did you start your career in medical aesthetic field?
Well, this is a very simple history. Long time ago, of course, I started in a lower range, and then I grew up with sale, and then get responsible, for example, sales responsible in France, in many companies. One of the companies started in 1980, 85, was a laser manufacturer. And then I spent 5 years between 1985 until 1992 mesotherapy. Because at that time, mesotherapy was very famous in France. Because at that time, there are a lot of products, molecules was available in chemistry. So a lot of people, they use mesotherapy daily for any kind of application, not aesthetic, but for example, orthopedics, for tendonitis, arthrosis, many things. And at that period of time, you can find a lot of product available, molecules, different molecules. So I learned mesotherapy with doctors because we had special devices at that time. And in 1990 was born, the first U225 was born in 1990.
And so before that, you said you have been working as a sales manager, you work for laser companies. How did it feel to leave security of employment and starting your own business and following your dreams?
Oh, that's far away after. This was after, because in 1990, the first U225 with a friend of mine who is engineer proposed to me to work with him. Then I had another opportunity to leave all that part and go to cardiology and pulmonology. So I spent 10 years in this field as a responsible with a Swiss company. And this was a very, very important experiment for me, as a medical aspect, you see. And in 2002, I quit, I left cardiology and to return to U225.
So, and what was the feelings back then? Did you worried about insecurities and starting something on your own or with a partner, or were you just following the dream? You were confident the concept will work and just give it all 100%?
Yes, I was rather confident on my own way to do. For me, it was not a real problem because, for example, in cardiology, a lot of cardiology people and pulmonology as well, we have a very tight relation with people. So I was very confident myself. So in 2002, I tried to change, and I renew with my old friend with the U225. Then I decided to start again with the U225, but for another goal, another target.
So we mentioned now quite a few times U225. So what makes this device so special and why it is a must-have gadget in medical aesthetic practice. Especially today, there are other mesoguns available, but yours is still in demand, and most clinic that I know have it. So what is so unique about it?
In fact, it's a long story. When in 2002, 2003, when my old friend phone called me and then, okay, Jean-Paul, we restart the U225. We would like to push it. And then because during 10 years, I was not in mesotherapy, things change. Aesthetic comes on the market. Hyaluronic acid came on the market. And so the thing is, I wouldn't be the guy who would start to compete against other mesogun because it's only a question of price, discount, and so on. So I was not interested with this.
Never compete on price.
No, I don't want that. It was not interesting. But I felt at that time that aesthetic will grow a lot. Then I would like to be able to use it in aesthetic field. That means to offer to the patient, to all the treatment, to get it painless. That's why my goal to target. Because if the patient come to your clinic, then to get a mesotherapy treatment, and then you do hematoma, you do pain, so people doesn't come back. It's an awful experiment. That's it. So we work on this, and I imagine many details to improve the U225 to be able to do painless treatment.
I would definitely agree with that because I have U225 in my clinic and I experience treatment as a patient as well as we treat our patients, and it's absolutely, I would agree with you, it's painless, no downtime, but also when you demonstrate the treatment or when you performing a treatment, I think it's like a work of art. You're so fast with it. It works incredibly fast. So is it the key in the speed?
The key, first with the U225, you need a training. This is the reason why this is the, how you say, agreement with the customers. When they buy it, I need to fix in the clinic and do the training. The problem is, for example, in some countries, some people are not, they say, okay, I do the trainee, but afterwards, they do not, how you say, they do not follow the trainee as well.
They don't follow protocols of the training.
Yes, and also they do not practice immediately, so they forgot all things. For example, today I fix a clinic, I do the trainee, and then they say, okay, I will do next week, or maybe 2 weeks I have a patient. It's too far. You have to immediately to practice in order to understand the right gesture.
Absolutely. And Jean-Paul, you mentioned that when you started U225 with your partner, business partner, I presume you had each other to support. But how was your family and friends? Did you get a support from them in starting your business venture?
No, not at all. Not at all. I was alone. Well, we start Needle Concept company now in 2009, effectively. In 2008, we get all the status, registered, the registration and so on. In 2009, we started. But then when you started Needle Concept, it was not with U225. First, it was only for microcannula. The first microcannula named Magic Needle.
Yes.
The Magic Needle. Then 2 years later, I bring the U225 to the company. But before, no, I was alone with the U225. So in order to develop as well, and well, I found other partners, that's all. And I'm a co-founder of the company, that's it. And needle concept is specialized, we are manufacturing, specialized in injection technique. That means a full range of microcannula, the name magic needle, a full range of needle from 27 gauge until 34 with different lengths, and the U225. But now we carried out a new U225, a new one, for gynecology application.
And is it different from traditional U225?
No, it is the same, but a different feature, different properties to be able to inject into the vagina, for example.
Okay.
Yes, for dryness, and also all the application for aesthetic gynecology.
Aesthetic gynecology becomes very popular. So I
Yeah.
completely understand why there is a demand in this
Yeah.
area, because you need to be happy in all aspects of your life.
Yes, so it is the same, but with a different feature to be able to go into.
So and now the owners of traditional U225,
Yeah.
will they be able to buy like adjusted needles, or do they need a new gun if they want to expand into gynecology treatment?
No, for organic is another device.
It's another
Another
device.
device. But as we are a manufacturer of needles, we selected only 3 sizes of needle for U225. It's not necessary to have many sizes. It's not necessary. We have 27 gauge, then 30 gauge and 31 gauge. Is more than enough. For skin, we use 31 gauge mostly. For hair, sometimes 30, because hair is very hard. The brain is hard. So sometimes the 31 can bend a little bit, so it's better to 30 gauge.
It is very interesting to hear about all your journey, and especially with stages of inventing and improving U225. But can you tell us how many hours have you been putting into your business from the beginning, and how is it differs now?
You mean how many hours per day, or?
Per day, yes. I would imagine over the years it's.
Sometimes in a full day, sometimes I spend only 5 hours, sometimes 8 hours, sometimes 10 hours, according to the request. I'm traveling a lot all over the world. For example, in the beginning of the year, in January, I was in Japan. I spent 5 days in Japan. We have a good distributor there. It's good. They do a very good job. In June, I was in Philippines, for example. So I travel a lot. So when I travel, I spend many hours. So it depends. Sometimes it varies. Today, I flew from Paris to Liverpool, and from Liverpool took the train to Nottingham, and so on. So it's a full day. So it depends on the request.
It's just a lot of entrepreneurs find very difficult to separate and find this perfect work-life balance. Do you have that?
What do you mean? Private?
Private and work.
Private and work. Sometimes it seems to be similar. For example, I'm working like I'm living. It's not, you see, when I'm working, I do my best. I give my best to the clients. I give all the informations, all the technique. I see all the technique. And for example, when I do the trainee and I show everything, for example, today, always I improve the technique. Today, I shoot in the lips, in the red lips with the U225 without no pain. For
and
example,
no anesthetic.
No, never anesthetic free. Never. For 2 reasons. The first reason is not necessary because it's painless if you use correctly the U225. According to my advisors. If you do like that, okay, you can do pain. If you do like that, But on never an aesthetic cream for not necessary. And second, you create vasoconstriction. And vasoconstriction, less diffusion of product and less efficiency. That's it. So on the red lips, no problem. I can shoot, no problem for hydration. It's a huge market.
Amazing, amazing. We need to improve our techniques in clinic, I
Yes,
believe.
yeah. I go back to
Through your career in aesthetic, did you have any person who you would call a mentor? Did you need a mentor in what you do?
not really. In my career, of course, for example, just an example, when I worked in cardiology and pulmonology, I had to learn everything. I had to learn cardiology, how the heart work, how a pulmonary function works together with heart. So, of course, I have many doctors who became friends. Some of them, they come at home, we listen to music together and so on. They became friendly with me. I do ski, in the Alps with them and so on. So I learned a lot, and they taught me, about cardio, how does it work, and then I understand everything. And then I could train them afterwards because a full cardiology stress test is very complicated sometimes. So you have to explain to other clients everything. So you have to know everything. So you have to learn. So to learn means you have to get passion. Passion is is the key. And for example, in mesotherapy field, for example, between 1985 until 1990, I learned mesotherapy. I learned how to inject by hand, the hand technique, manual technique. So I had to learn this with some doctors who are very friendly with me. It's not a mentor, it's just people give me good knowledge and good advices. It's like this. It's not a mentor for business. No, I don't need that.
So just learning from colleagues and friends.
Yes.
And from doctors.
Yeah, and good doctors, because you have to, how do you say, if you're passionate, if you have a passion of everything, passion for everything, like for example, even if you set a home and so on, or if you listen music, or if you do many things, you have to get passion. Otherwise, you are superficial, artificial. It's not
good.
It's not worthwhile, So of course, your mind always observing what happened, what is wrong, what is good, and so on. That's it.
And do you have a favorite treatment in medical aesthetics? We talk a lot about mesotherapy, but do you have anything that you would say that treatment is number one, most people must have it, or I enjoy it a lot?
At the moment, there are many techniques offered, Personally, I prefer injections. Botox, of course, injection Botox is fine. But the problem is, how do you say? If you have, for example, 100 people, 100 practitioners that inject, for example, fillers, Botox, and so on, fillers, for example. Maybe you have 70 of them have a good technique. But only 20 of them have a very good technique. But only 10 are artists. What does it mean to be artist? Is to get beauty, and beauty means to make the treatment to be natural, not artificial, not lips like that or the cheeks like that and so on. To get it nice, the real beauty, natural beauty.
Jean-Paul, your words is the music to my ears.
Oh, thank
I
you.
absolutely agree with you. And I always, we teach medical professionals. It's a part of our clinic. We do train doctors, dentists, nurses from the beginning to the highest level. And I always would say that aesthetic, it's a combination of multiple speciality.
Yes, yes,
Medicine is important, but it's just a part of it. And it is psychology, because you need to understand your patients, and art, because you
yeah,
need to understand what true beauty is, and each face is absolutely different. You can't replicate result by
no.
applying the same formula for each
Of course,
patient.
of course, of course. That's back to your question, which is one of the best treatment. I like meso because meso has no side effect. First, no side effect. Second, meso is a technique of injection, right? With PRP together with a normal meso product to get combination is a huge you get huge result. For example, for hair, well, of course you have hair restoration with how you say hair transplant, of course, but you can get, for example, even for male and female to all together, it's a huge market for to keep hair, good scalp, and so on and so on, and to keep a nice skin, healthy skin.
I absolutely agree with you on that. I think nothing can complement a person more than a healthy, growing skin, glowing skin,
Yes,
or healthy hair. It's absolutely so important. And maintenance. Yes, you can have hair transplant, but if you don't maintain it with the right treatment, right
that's
products,
true. That's true.
it will be suboptimal, or you need to repeat it probably within shorter period of time than expected.
Yes, yes, yes.
And you mentioned that when you started your career and development of your gadget, you saw the big potential in aesthetic, and you saw that it will
Yeah.
grow. How do you see industry now? Do you still think there is a potential to grow, especially you travel around the world, or has the industry been saturated?
There are more, how you say, the demands growing. The demands is growing, of course. Now coming on the market, a new product like exosome and so on, or exosome stem cells and so on. In France, it is forbidden. Forbidden because you have to prove the result. So we are waiting for a real scientific result comparison. So it's very strict. So the health ministry in France is very strict regarding this. So, but I think there's a growing demand. For example, in the period of lockdown for the COVID, a lot of practitioners still working because all people were staying at home. Okay, and they are thinking of themselves. And then, what can I do? Okay, I can. So there are a lot of. This was a big period of that makes people bigger demand.
And video communication and
Yes, of
Zoom, I
course,
think,
of
have
course.
increased demand for aesthetic,
Yes,
because we see ourselves on the camera more and more often.
that's it. That's it.
And how would you describe, is there a real difference in cultural popularity of aesthetic with you traveling around the globe? Is any countries which have higher demand for treatments than others?
Yes, the thing is, there are different, how you say, criteria, aesthetic criteria, according to different culture. For example, Japanese or Chinese, or roughly speaking, Asian is a different from European or from Africa or South America. There's a different way of looking, of thinking, uh, for example, thinking what aesthetic is. So, For example, I went to South America. It's a little bit different, totally different. So the mentality of people is totally different. So you have to adapt about that. And regarding this, according to that, mesotherapy don't care about that. It's always the same. You have to improve the skin. That's it.
Everyone wants a healthy skin.
Yeah, that's it. So, but the criteria of aesthetic criteria is different from Asian to European and to somewhere else.
And was very interesting. You said that Ministry of Health in France very strict.
Yeah.
Is there is a restriction on who can inject treatments in aesthetic, who can perform injectable treatments
Only doctors.
in medical aesthetics?
Only doctors, they do. Plastic surgeon, dermatologists, or cosmetic doctors. But for example, in France, nurses cannot do. Like in UK, nurses as a potential they can do because, well, they have a good technique and so on, but not in France. For example, in France, PRP in aesthetic is forbidden. PRP in aesthetic only available in orthopedics, dental. That's all.
And did you know that in the UK anyone can do injectable treatments, even not doctors?
Yes, I know. In different countries like that, but not in France. In France, it's very strict um, due to many reasons. This is politics and so on and so on.
And what is your personal opinion about of lack of regulation, like in the UK, that anyone potentially can be a gardener today and aesthetic practitioner tomorrow?
A gardener to go there. Well, this is rather difficult, You cannot jump like that, But I've been known because a lot of nurses they practice mesotherapy, but nurses their how you say their background is to inject. They know what the needle is and so on and so on. So they are very how you say they are trained, very good trained. So there's not a problem with them. In France is different. In France, this kind of a corporate system, like for example, doctors, plastic surgeon. For example, cosmetic doctors cannot do surgery. They can't do. It's illegal. For example, liposuction in 19 until 2005 has been made by cosmetic doctors. But after that, plastic surgeons stop. It's our business because we are plastic surgeon and we do anatomy and so on. We are aware with anatomy and so on and so on and so on.
But I suppose it's not a bad thing when you have a high standards
of course,
who can perform. Jean-Paul, can you please tell us, you travel to different clinics, see different practitioners. What is the key for the clinic to be successful and increase their customers' numbers, customer retention? Why some clinics more successful and others less so?
The response is very simple. It's only a question of first good result. A good result. If the patient, imagine a lady come to see you for some problems occurs for hair or face or neck or for something else. You have to give a good quality of treatment that she makes her happy first, and very comfortable treatment. If you do something very how you say that makes a big pain, hematoma, and so on, so the person doesn't come back anyway, or maybe second session, but she's not really convinced about your treatment. So I think this is very important to bring a very high quality and very, how you say, high level of treatment. That means painless, good quality, and not too much fillers, not too much fillers. I know that many people, they want to look like a model or looks like stars and so on and so on. I'm not sure it's a good way to do it.
I agree with you.
Just people have to feel confident on themselves first and to get their own beauty, to find out their own beauty.
Absolutely.
That's it. And this is very difficult because it needs a psychologically sense, not really immediately to follow, okay, I do treatment for that, I do treatment for that. It's only a question of money. No. You must go beyond that.
And here is come another question. What, in your opinion, patients should look for when they're choosing the clinic? How to find this practitioner who will give them the result of natural beauty?
This is a big problem. This is a big problem because you cannot, it's difficult to teach beauty. Beauty, you cannot teach beauty. What is the link of the beauty? The link of the beauty is to observation. If you do not observe this flower, if you do not feel the beauty of the flower, you cannot feel the beauty. Beauty is everywhere. For example, even for the clothes you wear and so on. Many things. The way you talk, the way how you eat, and everything is beauty. Must be a beauty.
So would you say that patients should look at how the clinic looks, how the staff looks? Do their appearance matter? Maybe result of the patient who have had treatments?
Of course, the clinic must should be very, how do you say in English, charmful?
Charmful, yeah.
Charmful. Welcoming, offer many things, coffee and so on. But this is a normal way of living, And but observation, how to look at people, how to the perception is very important. You see, a lot of people, they look at things through an image. But this is not, this is a conditioning.
You need to understand the person in front of you
as
well.
That's it. This is the base.
And would you say that correctly performed aesthetic treatment is it's injectable fillers or mesotherapy or energy-based devices gives much greater impact to the patient than just reflection in the mirror? Does it impact their day-to-day life, self-esteem, self-love?
Yes, it can do, of course. How do you say? Sometimes when you see, for example, a person coming to your clinic, you have to give just a small things, not too much. It's sufficient. Just that the position of the practitioner is very, how do you say, subtle. I don't know if it is the right English term.
What do you mean, like that they can direct the person in the right direction on their journey?
Yes, right direction, and sometimes a few things is better than a lot of things to do, according to the request of the person, the real request, A lot of people, they feel, they are not comfortable in themselves first. So because many things happen in their life, you see. So they have to first to feel confident of themselves, to give them confidence about fear, about many problems, So the way you you speak to them is very important to make them relax and so on.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But as a practitioner, I often see that patient not necessarily come just because they're not happy with the line.
Yes, yes.
It's much more, and you need to understand that.
Yeah, it's a whole things.
Exactly.
It's a whole things, you know. It's not only to treat but you have to talk with them to make confident, to make a good relation is very, very important.
Very interesting conversation with you today. But I have one more question for you.
Yes.
So, which one or two things in your career you wished you learned earlier?
This is a very tricky question. Very tricky. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I wish to learn. I wish to learn. I don't know really. No, I wish.
Like now, what you know with your experience and
No,
expertise.
no. I wish to learn
don't
piano,
did.
to play piano, for example. Nothing to do with aesthetic.
But it's an art.
Yeah, in art, yeah. I'd like to play piano or something like that, to classical music. Yes, I would like to, but I'm not. I do not. This I should. I would like to know. This I wish to learn. Yeah, but now it's too late.
It's never too late.
No, it's too late. Come
Never
on.
too late. And music is wonderful for the mindfulness and
Yes,
cognitive brain function.
it's very, very important. Yeah, good vibration is so important. Good vibration in every levels.
Exactly. So it's not necessarily career related, but that is probably a skill you still can learn. And finally, Jean-Paul, I know you're a very private person, and today I found that you're not on social media, which I think is probably one of the very good things this day, because there are a lot of positives, but also there are a lot of negatives of social media. But how people can find you and find about your company, your product, where is the best place?
Well, this is very, very simple. We personally, I'm not involved in social media because I protect my private life. But there are person. Now we started the company Needle Concept. We were two, three guys at the beginning in 2009. Now we are about 30, 35 people. So we grow. So there are persons who are involved with social media, Instagram, and they follow all the demands. But we have a website, needleconcept.com, so everybody can look. And at the moment, for example, today there are more than 500 devices all over UK, for example. But in the world, for example, every year we produce about between 400 to 500 machines, devices. So, and for us, the market is growing. So we are very well known now. So a lot of people knows our phone call and so on and so on. So they call the company and so on. Well, it's very simple, very simple.
Well, and people always can find you at most big aesthetic exhibitions.
Yes, that's it.
Thank you very much. It has been a great pleasure.
Thank you. You're welcome. It was a great pleasure to speak to you.
Thank you.
Thank you.